This week's show brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Welcome everybody to the Scott County Cardinals News Graphic Coaches Show, Football Coaches Show Year 2, Season 2, a new beginning. Coach Jim McKee, thanks for joining us.
Oh, no, thank you all for doing it. Got a new location this year. Look forward to coming down here and doing it each week, and hopefully got some kids on, got some interviews with them, and looking forward to the season.
We did. Folks will get a chance to look at Landen Easley and Sam Sutton later on, a couple of the seniors. A couple of guys, I know Easley is a senior. You talked up to me over the summer as a guy who really stepped it up. And you got a lot of guys, I'm sure, that their level of commitment from junior to senior year gets a little stronger because they know this is it.
Well, typically they sort of go one way or the other. And you know, Landen's gone the way that you want to see a kid go. You know, when a kid gets to be a senior, in my experience and in my time, sort of one of two things happens. One, he says, like what you said, oh gosh, seems like 2 days ago I was over here playing middle school football, and now I'm a senior and this is it. I might not ever play football again. I'm all in. I'm going to give everything I have. I'm going to make sure every day counts. We'll have the best possible year. And when you see that, and in the case of Landen, then you see a kid take a significant jump from his junior to his senior year. Unfortunately, some people sort of feel like they've arrived as a senior, have a sense of entitlement. You know, this is my senior year. And those people have a tendency to flatline and not improve. And it's my job as a coach to try to get everybody to do what Landen did.
As a coach, your role is almost kind of a little bit of psychology, isn't it?
100%.
You got to get into their heads and make them believe that and believe that this is it. And this
well, you know, we're real guilty. You do it. I do it. James does it. Everybody, you know, how many times do you ever say, man, I can't wait till spring break, or I can't wait till get off work, can't wait till Christmas, can't wait till my son's out of the house, or can't wait till my boy's starting in college, I can't, or something, can't wait till my kids start school. You can't wait your whole life. I mean, you know, my job is to get them honed in immediately on the immediate task at hand. I can't freaking wait to have a great practice today. And so that is tough and challenging sometimes. But as soon as a senior starts talking about things he can't wait to do, then he's checked out on today. And there goes the best opportunity for him to have the best senior year he can have.
Speaking of seniors, quite a few of them on the roster this year, starting on each side. You have, I know, 3 players who are 3-year starters, and 2 of them aren't even seniors yet. So you got experience in places on this team, it looks like.
It's really very atypical of all of our teams in the standpoint that we seldom try to start it's just never worked out where we've had like 10 or 11 senior starters that often. I know in 16 last year we had to replace 10 starters on our defense, but our offense had like 7 starters back. So we try to always have some kids back to where you're not completely starting fresh every year.
Mm-hmm. That just happens by design then. This year it looks like mostly juniors and seniors. Not a lot of sophomores contributing.
Shouldn't play any.
Right.
You know, the thing about playing a sophomore or a freshman is if they, and I try to explain this to the parents and to the players, and I try to explain this to former players of mine that come back midway through their freshman year of college and they want to gripe about not getting to play. And I said, well, wait a minute, were you good enough to play on a varsity football team when you were in 9th grade? And then they were like, oh, well, no. I'm like, okay, be quiet. Go back to college and go practice some more. You know, you're not good enough yet. And if we're playing a bunch of freshmen and sophomores, then we're in trouble.
There's a difference physically between 14, 15-year-old boys and 18-year-old
Yes.
men, and perhaps even more so between 18-year-old boys and 22, 23-year-old men.
Yeah, now Glenn and Hudson are sort of...
They're unique.
You just don't have very many kids that come through your program like that. But it's really tough, and that's going to be... It's going to be certainly a growing up process for us. You know, we're going to have to play 1 or 2 sophomores on the offensive line. You know, we've lost 2 of the people that we anticipated starting on the offensive line from the preseason to today. And if both those cats were healthy, we wouldn't have a sophomore step on the field. We'd have a great JV team. And if I ate less, I wouldn't weigh as much as I do. But, you know, that's not the case. And unfortunately, Joe Logan broke a bone in his foot, and he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. And Tyler Salmon's had surgery on his right shoulder. So, you know, unfortunately, we've lost 2 guys that were, one a senior, one a junior, that we were really counting on. They played every play last year on the JV team in those positions. Tyler was the center, and Joe was the right tackle. And so we anticipated starting them there, and they're not going to be able to play. Tyler's out for the season, and Joe's going to be out for an extended period of time. But nobody cares. I mean, I care, and Joe cares,
But
and
the rest
Tyler
of the
cares,
world
but
has no
nobody.
sympathy.
Yeah, you got to find somebody else. You got to go on.
In looking at the 2 deep roster, it looks. I know a big area of concern was the center because
Still
so much,
and
is,
haven't done a good job in the preseason coaching them.
Yeah.
I've gotten something I try to really remember is, you know, here's this kid like today. I mean, it was probably, I don't know what the heat index was. The trainer's in charge of that, but I mean, it was in the low 90s. I mean, we were just blasting away for 2.5 hours. And, you know, I remember, you know, this kid could be at home, be fishing or whatever, and I'm getting after him. And I haven't done as good a job as a coach with our centers. And I need to do a better job. I've got to do a better job. I've got to do a better job, because we can't get the play cranked up if we don't have a good center. And we've been totally spoiled. For the last 5 years, we've had a first-team type all-state center. We had a kid named Travis Wright was our center in 2012 and 13. He's first-team all-state as a senior. And then we had Colby for 3 years in 14, 15, and 16. So we're a little spoiled right there right now. And, you know, we need to take a deep breath and back up and get somebody ready.
You talked about Hudson and Covington being unique guys. It's kind of a balancing act with them, because there's a temptation to play them both ways and use them in various roles. But is it a balancing, especially when you talk about the heat index in August? I mean, you kind of juggle that in your mind.
I think the biggest thing, you know, not that you care what happened when I played high school football, but when a lot of people that are watching this show played high school football, myself included, they probably played on a team and played on a roster where it was not unique at all for somebody to play on both sides of the ball. Well, here's the difference. If Team A, which is McKee team, is playing Oakes team, and you've got 7 guys going both ways, and we've got 7 guys going both ways, the pace of the game is slower. And, you know, that's a little bit more how I was able to do it, or you were able to do it, or tons of people that are watching this show were able to do it. The thing, you know, I had tremendous high school football coaches. Coach Graham didn't have a staff as big as we do here. And he did, but because we're so many of us playing both ways, the speed of the game is so much faster. And so even though Brian, who's a good kid, you know, I get on him a lot. Obviously, he's a great kid, but I mean, he can't do it. Glenn can't do it. They can't do it. And are we going to use them some? Absolutely. And are we going to try to have them in a position by the time that the weather cools off that they can do it? Absolutely. Are they going to have to come out of the game some now? Yes.
I know Monty does the defense, but talk a little bit about the defense, because you are in a different position with them this year. With last year, you mentioned the 10 seniors that were gone. You had to replace 10 people. Not really replacing that many. I think 7 starters and probably an 8th kid that started some and played a lot.
Well, I mean, if you look at the defense and start on the front end and start on the line, you know, Nick Lally played all the time last year. He's back. Zane Wilson played all the time. He's back. Hudson played the majority of the time. He's back. Tano Trevino played until he got hurt. And we've looked at Tano some this week at center because we had a move in, a kid named Christian Carter, who kind of gave us an extra person on the defensive line. So, you know, we've got 3.5-ish starters back there. You look at linebacker, Sam played a lot at Cardinal. I guess I don't know if he started some games at corner, but I think Sam Sutton started all 14 games, didn't he? Yeah. And then Burke Watts started all 14 games. So you got 2 people back there, and on the back end, Glenn played a ton, and Cooper Robb played a ton. So you got 2 on the back end. So if you go 3.5, 5.5, somewhere between 7.5 and 8 starters back. And we need to be better on defense.
Yeah. because
I mean, they ought to be better than they were last year. That's what that's what I told them. I mean, you know what Coach Holt said when he took the South Carolina job? Said, Coach got 19 starters back. He said, "Good Lord, didn't anybody graduate?" So I mean, we should be better on defense.
Yeah, and you mentioned that it's hard these days to slow the other team down. You're going to give up points, but I'm sure.
I think defensive coordinator is one of the toughest positions. Yeah. Because everybody's got all the answers. I mean, any type of coordinator, but a defensive coordinator, I mean, a perfect example. Who's the best defensive mind and the best defense generally widely regarded in Division I football?
Best defense? You don't even think about it. I mean, Alabama.
Alabama.
Because they're the team. They're the only team that's winning games.
I mean,
31-7.
Yeah. When you think about Nick Saban's history, so here's what Alabama has going for them in the national championship game last year. I want you to put your thinking cap on, and if you're out there listening, I want you to take your mind back. What happened in the national championship game 2 years ago? Clemson torched Alabama's defense. Yeah. Okay, so here's Nick Saban. He's like any really good leader. I mean, he's got a little ego. Here's his defensive staff. All right, so Alabama last year has by all general consensus, the best defensive coach in the nation is their head coach. Jeremy Pruitt's an outstanding coordinator. They had 6 guys drafted off last year's defense in the NFL draft. They came out. Remember, did you watch the game from the beginning? Mm-hmm. What's that number 10's name? My mind's gone blank.
Yeah, mine too.
The guy that got, I mean, he's unbelievable. They came out with a major chip on their shoulder. I mean, they were laying the wood. I mean, bam! They were knocking those guys crazy. What ended up happening as the game wore on? Deshaun Watson, they gave up almost 600 yards. Yeah. So it is tough to stop team, but we should be able to do a better job of stopping people this year.
Just some thoughts on, we talked about the sophomores a little bit, but obviously it's your biggest class. You look at the roster, 80, 81. I think you've told me at one point there were 30 some of those guys are sophomores.
There were 38. I think we got 37 right now.
So obviously people are going to be seeing them, if not this year, over the next several years to come. What is it about that class that is it the numbers that have been significant for them, or is there something we should be watching for with that group?
Well, first off, I appreciate every kid in our program. And, no matter what grade he is, no matter if he's a starter or if he's a guy out there playing scout team, I had to really sell our guys today on we didn't get a good enough effort out of our bag holders, our scouts, and our route runners. And, rather than talk that much about kids that aren't going to play that much on Friday, I would just say, to every senior out there and every senior parent and every fan of a senior, take advantage of this year. You got social media, I'm sure. I like Instagram and Twitter. And I follow kids that have graduated out of the program. And I hope our sophomores that we talked about can see that. But like Hunter Solsky, what a great kid. He was our right tackle last year. 1 year starter one way. Big picture on there one day this week, how much he's missing football. And, so I hope our seniors will take advantage of it and pave the way for those sophomores. But here's the thing. You said we're going to see a lot of them. So one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to get a lot of blowouts, right, and they're going to get a lot of mop-up duty, or we're going to get blown out a lot, and we're going to be in big trouble, and year 3 of this show is not going to happen.
They're going to run us all out of town.
I'm running me right out of town.
You and me both. Before we wrap this up, let's talk a little bit about this week's opponent, because there is a game this week, North Bullitt. That's a new face on the schedule. We've mentioned in the past, it's hard to get those 6A teams to play you. This is a 5A team. It's had some success. They went to the 3rd round of the playoffs last year. What else should we know about them?
Well, it's just a situation where we're out there looking for games. And when we were looking at Lafayette, Highlands, Moeller, LaSalle all in a row, and you start thinking about the overall health of your team and the mentality of your team, we were able to get North Bullitt in the opening spot. I'm not taking anything away from them by any way, shape, or form, but we're a bigger school than them. We're traditionally stronger than them. We should win. Yeah. Our guys should go out and play well. And North Bullitt was in the regional finals last year. They graduated quite a few kids off that. Their quarterback's a good player. Their coach does a nice job. But we should win the game. And, Appalachian State upset Michigan years ago, so the game's not won. But, I've told I'm very honest with our guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat things with them. And I tell them, hey, guys, we have superior talent than our opponent. We have a numbers advantage over our opponent. We've got to get ourselves mentally ready to go and take care of this opponent. And that's what we should do.
Coach mentioned a lot of games coming up that are going to be fun to talk about, and we're looking forward to those in the weeks ahead. But thanks for joining us tonight, Coach. We got some words from Sam Sutton and Landen Easley. Check out what they had to say. Sam Sutton and Landen Easley are entering their senior year at Scott County, and they say it's different than any other.
It's definitely a different feeling. You know, I've been playing football since I was 4 years old, and you know, this is gonna be the last time I ever strap up. So it's definitely different, and I wanna leave on a good note.
It feels good to be the top man of the class out here, but also you want to push a little harder because it's your last chance to go get a ring or do all that stuff, and so you just have a little more push in you, that's for sure.
This year's seniors are a close-knit group. Some of them play 2 or 3 sports together, and many started for the Cardinals football team a year ago.
Most of us, you know, played on the same flag teams, junior tackle teams, all the way through middle school, and now, you know, it's the last time we're ever going to suit up together, so it's definitely a close group.
I've played with these guys for most of them all my life, starting with Little League Baseball almost, because a lot of us play multiple sports or have played multiple sports. And then, so we know each other real well, and we're a tight group, and we love each other, and we will, and that makes us play better, in my opinion.
For the second consecutive year, Scott County has the privilege of playing its opener at Toyota Stadium. The Cardinals play 3 of their first 4 games at home.
Oh, yeah, it's an amazing feeling. You know, you walk out, you see all those fans. We have such an amazing support group in Scott County, and you see all the students, and you run out of the tunnel.
It's so much energy, just get you pumped up. There's not another feeling like it in the world.
The Cardinals are projected as high as number 2 or number 3 in several Class 6A preseason polls, so expectations are high as ever.
Yeah, when you play for Scott County, you know, it's almost a state championship or bust type thing, and we take a lot of pride in it, and I think we just got to be disciplined and read our keys and do what we're coached to do, and we'll be just fine. We have the talent to do it, and I think we'll be fine.
I have good confidence in us. It just takes a lot of work and practice. The O-line is a tough spot on the football field, but I think we're going to be all right.
Scott County has a new wrinkle with the addition of a turf field at the high school. The Cardinals say it makes a difference in the quality of their practices.
It's a great get, because you know, every game we play is on turf, and when we're down here practicing on grass in the past, you know, we go out there on Friday night and it's a different feel. So this is definitely good for us to get the feel of turf all week, and then we're ready for it on Friday nights.
It's great. I mean, the practice turf up there is good too, but it really does feel like concrete. And playing in the mud all the time in practice in previous years, I mean, it's a blessing. It honestly is. It's so amazing that the school came together and put this out here. And it's not just going to help us; it's going to help a lot of sports and teams, and it'll be good for everybody.
Sutton and Easley won't make any specific predictions, but both believe that hard work will deliver the results that everyone wants to see.
You know, we all have one thing on our mind, and that's to win. And I think everybody understands that, and the younger guys understand that because of the seniors. And so I think we're all just on one mission.
Well, I mean, my expectations is to win state, nothing less. I mean, I'm coming out here working hard every day, and all of us seniors are pushing everybody to work just as hard, so we have a shot at going to the state championship. And we know we always have a target on our backs, but that pushes us even more, man.